Top 5 teams, and these are our power conference teams that have the most portal entries so far. I don't know what this means. I just found it interesting that things are different. And look, Colorado is on this list, and they've added a couple more. So if something's happened since I sent this to Emory at noon today, I'm sorry. But as of the first day, in the first 24 hours, this is what they had. Number 5, Arkansas had 4. And I also graded some of this. Some other, like Texas also had 4, and they might have 5 or 6 now. But Texas has not lost a single player that their fans are worried about. Like, they're all guys who went through the spring, didn't move up on the depth chart, and are moving on. So Arkansas, although has lost a couple of guys, they might get a couple of guys back. But in a make-or-break season for Sam Pittman, they lost 4 in the first day, which I thought was actually a little low given what was happening there. But Arkansas lost 4 in the first day.
You know, it sounds like the fans who also, when they lose somebody at the last second who signs with somebody else, well, we didn't need him. But you're right. There are some that, you got to have attrition. You're over the limit, literally, with the 85 scholarships and incoming transfers, too. You got to kind of balance it off.
Yeah. Number 4, tied with Arkansas, is A&M. They have 4, and they have 2 of theirs. And the reason I put them on this list, it was very interesting. 2 of theirs were the guys who fit into a category that Brandon Marcello actually added to Bud Elliott's tweet of guys who transferred into a program in December, didn't hear their name enough, and then are trying to capitalize on that buzz again as they go back out. But 2 of their 4 are those guys, and then the other 2 are guys that you'd recognize, one of them being Jacoby Matthews, who's going to be very highly sought after in the portal as a safety and has some big teams after him already. But A&M's kind of an interesting split between theirs. Also, Louisville's not on this list because only one player from Louisville has actually officially entered the portal at this point.
Remember the Brandon Marcello tweet?
Yeah.
And then he came back and said, man, guys, I screwed this up. It's my fault. He owned it.
Now, Penny Boone's going to.
Well, he had mentioned the offensive lineman. Yeah.
But yeah, they're only one has officially done it yet, so maybe the Louisville collective is making a push now to keep some of those guys. But Louisville's not on the list. But A&M at 4 is an interesting one. And they've brought in a lot, and they're going to continue to try to bring in some more. But 4 spots opened up for A&M in the first window, and 2 of those were guys that they brought in December. Number 3, Miami at 5. This is, you mentioned Ja'Curry Brown earlier. Henry Parrish is one of these guys as well. Was their starting running back last year. It appears he's going back to Ole Miss where he started his career. That's kind of headed in that direction. Miami is just interesting in that there's 5 guys. The guy they thought was going to be the backup quarterback amongst them is interesting to me in that they're going to be probably more aggressive than they have in the past, given that they've got Cam Ward. So this feels to me like Miami is doing a bit of a clean out so they can go get the wide receiver and running back that they particularly need.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have anything to add to this.
It's fine.
I mean, Curry Brown, he wasn't going to start, so, I understand where he's coming from. It's kind of like we talked about earlier. I don't know why Uncle Luke was so adamant about his displeasure with that, but
maybe personal.
He's a super fan, and probably is personal, very personal.
He coaches a lot of those 7-on-7
Miami
teams
guys,
and things like that.
Yeah, so he's got a friendship or a different type of relationship than just your typical fan, but he is a super fan. But yeah, I'm just kind of taking it in because it's so
it's not really quantifiable,
right?
in
some ways, but it is interesting to keep track of who's losing in order to gain, really, in the long term, or if they're losing because there's a hole that needs to be plugged. And I think in Miami's case, it's good attrition. A&M's case, it's good attrition. Who'd you mention at first? Arkansas. Probably good attrition. So yeah, there we are with that.
Yeah, and here's and look, I probably just could have done a segment on just these 2 because it's interesting to me because it's different in both ways. Number 2 is UCF. They've lost 6 players so far in the early window. One of them actually, Josh. I'm going to say his name wrong. Seliskar is going to A&M, but they've lost, maybe more than that now that I'm looking at this. So there's one more, but 6 or 7 guys, and most of them are veteran guys who were somewhere else and transferred in. One of them, Goldie Lawrence, fits in that category if he transferred in, didn't get the kind of playing time he wanted. He was at FSU before, and now he's transferring out. And then Timmy McClain trying to go find a place where he could start at quarterback. But UCF has 6, and I think part of this is them figuring out like, oh, well, you had some guys that just missed here, and that's going to be that. But it is strange to me that a team that I think has such an upward trajectory had so many departures on day one.
I think that's good. I just feel like maybe they need to clear a little bit out themselves. They're doing fine.
Yeah,
they're
no,
doing
they are.
just
It's
fine.
just some of these are clear outs. It's weird, but that was a big number for UCF on day one, and of course the biggest number so far by a long
Put an
shot.
asterisk next to this one because it's changing in any minute.
Yeah, because there were a couple more that happened today. Actually, 3 more since I did it. So right now I think it's 13 is Colorado, who was at 10 this morning, already at 13, and this is a team that was completely built through the portal anyway, and they're going to have to go find 13 more guys. You've got Shadur and Shiloh out there trying to recruit players as well. I'm not sure that Deion's not going to have to revamp his team-building strategy in a hurry. I know he's trying to make it look legitimate at Colorado as fast as he can, but when you've got so many guys going in and out in 2 years, I don't know how you build any continuity and consistency.
Yeah, I don't either. I think if you're doing double digits in the transfer portal, that's probably not a good sign. That's too many guys that you're having to replace. Now, granted, with their needs at offensive line and in other spots, but particularly offensive line, I mean, you could see a big turnover coming, but that I don't think you can just do 10 year in and year out and think that you're probably operating at a very healthy level. Obviously, he's not totally happy with some of the bunch, and you see the messaging from his sons last night in that social media post about, this ain't last chance you, but if you're interested, contact us. We'll see how that works out, man. As we ramp up, it's going to be fun to start including them more in the actual conversation about the conference and what all that's going to look like. But Deion on year 2 is going to be must-see TV until it isn't. And it was for, about 3 weeks to a month last year, and then it was just sort of hit or miss after that. Obviously, a lot of eyes, a lot of pressure. But it does feel like something's just sort of out of whack with the whole handling of the roster. And if we're wrong, I'll eat those words, but it just seems like there's a bit too much attrition. And then again, maybe that's a good thing because maybe there were some guys thinking they were just going to come on board and it was going to be a TV show and it was going to be, fun and games. And clearly that's not what they're in need of if they want to win more games this season. So we'll see. Maybe it's a needed attitude adjustment, or maybe it's a sign that there is a leak in the USS Sanders.
I just saw this note, Craig.